Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of On the Move with the Caravan Sports Preview Show with Jim Powers. I'm Chris Miller. Obviously, that's Jim Powers. And all of our episodes are sponsored by Wiley Agencies. You can get multiple policies for your insurance with one agent. That's Sean Wiley. Give him a call today at his Festus office at 636-764-6294 or his Hillsborough office at 636-333-9903. You can talk sports, talk insurance, just don't talk Cardinals. Jim, how are we doing today?
Wild. It's a wild week. I mean, we got through the first week of district play. Not a lot of surprises when you look at the finals across the state. But you've got state volleyball this week, state cross country, second round of district action on the football side, and basketball has started, ladies and gentlemen. So everybody's a little weary right now, so to say, because it's been the first couple of days of basketball practices. And but no, it's a great time of the year. We had some state champions down at softball crowned last week, and Francis Howell in Washington doing just an unbelievable job in winning the big school championships. And then Borgia, what a great job for them in Class 3, getting the runner-up spot. Our good friend, Mr. Schutte and his crew doing some great things. And so, we're kind of in the home stretch with state championships because this weekend we've got volleyball, in which we're going to talk about. We got cross country we'll talk a little bit about. And then a week off, and then we got the swimming championships next weekend, and then the soccer championships, and then we finish up with the football championships the first weekend of December. So it's a busy 4-week stretch for the kids, for all of us. But guess what? We wouldn't want anything other than that because, we want to celebrate the kids and such incredible accomplishments that they've had this year.
Yeah, it's been a jam-packed fall sports season here in Missouri, as is anywhere else, even around the country. And we've got so many of our great athletes that are doing great things, especially locally, representing cross-country teams, doing really well. Volleyball, as we're going to talk about, and of course football, and just the amount of really good football that we've seen, obviously. And it's tough when we have a lot of these first-round games. Because some of them are there's a little disparity in some of the scores, but then there have been some really good games that have been played, especially in the bigger schools in their first round games. So, I mean, it is winding down, but it's still pretty exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you look so far in the fall state championships, the dominance of the St. Louis area. When we talk about girls tennis, I mean, in the big school singles and doubles, we swept both in the top 2 classes. Then you look at the team side of things. St. Louis sweeps all 3 team championships. You look at softball. St. Louis gets the top 2, classifications, championships, and Borgia gets a runner-up. I mean, once again, I thought last year was going to be an unprecedented year for us with winning state championships. I'm telling you right now, we are on the cusp of just beginning in the fall of maybe outdoing what we did last year. And once again, that's a testament to the kids, the coaches, the administrators that have done a terrific job in scheduling and making sure everything's running the correct way. It's just, once again, it's a great time of year with everything going on, the crossover with basketball taking place and all that stuff. So, this is once again, it's a long couple weeks. Especially for, guys like me that are covering it wall to wall, but it's so well worth it to celebrate these kids and these coaches.
As coaches too, I mean, I'm a basketball coach, and obviously I won't have my fall sports kids as long as they keep playing and they keep making, strides in state tournaments. I had cross country kids that are running this weekend for state. Our football team's still playing. As a coach for a winter sport, I'm sure there's guys out there who are, maybe a little, a little selfish, but they want their kids.
Sure.
And you do to a degree because it's hard to do stuff when you don't have everybody. But you want, as coaches, we want what's best for these kids. We want them to experience as much success as possible because that's something they can't get back. And hopefully all of our coaches have got a little selfishness to us, but at the same time, we want them to. I keep rooting for my guys to keep winning. I know it makes it tough for me, but that's part of my job, and that's what I signed up for. I want these kids to have that opportunity that they only get one time. So I love to see all the kids, continues to, especially our local kids, have such great success, and hope it continues on.
Well, you look at winning breeds winning,
Yes.
in high school programs. And, you look at Hal, and I'll use that as a perfect example. You look at what Hal has done in what the last year. They won the football championship. Now they've won a softball championship after their softball team placed runner up last year. Their volleyball team is going to be down at state this year. And it's that winning, it's breeding that winning, amongst all your programs. And you're exactly right. The winter coaches, they're not going to get some of their kids, but guess what? I think those winter coaches will take state championships for their peers in the coaching realm at those schools and to celebrate their kids, because this is something those kids will never get back. And especially some of the kids that won't play at the next level.
Right.
They're playing their last high school games. And I saw a tweet from a young lady, earlier this week that she knows she's not going to play college ball. She said, I can never pass up what we just did. And that's really, really cool to see. And that's great for those kids that aren't going to play at the next level. They just were able to knock out a state championship and get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that I can't speak for everybody. I just know from my own standpoint, that's how I feel about it. And I know there's a lot of other coaches out there, winter coaches, that feel that way. We want these kids to be successful.
Yes.
It is something that they can build off of. It's something your programs can build off of. And it only makes us all better, and our programs all across our schools better as well. And speaking of pretty good programs, we are going to jump into our football, our district previews, and we'll start at the top here at the big schools. So, Jim, we're looking at Class 6 District 1, and Oakville getting that big win over Northwest. It sets up some pretty good matchups this week.
Yeah, without a doubt. And all roads are leading to Seckman and Jackson, but Jackson's going to have a tough matchup. Seckman should take care of their business. They should be able to take care of Oakville. This Jackson-Lindbergh matchup is going to be a fun one. Lindbergh has had, an up and down year, left a couple games on the table, but they're still a really, really good defensive team. Jackson's going to come in with a high-power offense and good defense. You're playing at the Pit, and this is the last time Jackson could play there this year. You never know what'll happen because they're going to have to come to Seckman for that state, for that district final next week if they can take care of their business. So a really interesting district still, but I still think it's Seckman and Jackson right now on a collision course next week.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it's definitely setting up for that. And man, I'll tell you what, I mean, is give Mike Ginge credit at Oakville. I know he's done a lot with that program. They've had a really, really good start in his coaching career there. I don't know if they're ready to face Seckman and to knock them off. Again, stranger things have happened. Kids had to show up and play. I think it's too much Jackson. It's a hard place to drive all the way down and play at the Pit. You said it right.
We've talked about the Pit all year long. I've been down there for a game, and there is a part of me that wishes volleyball was going to be done a little bit earlier on Friday, because I would drive over. I mean, Seymour to Jackson's only about a 15-minute drive. I would drive over to watch that game on Friday night, but with volleyball going on till later in the evening on Friday, not going to be able to do that. But yeah, it's a tough place to play. But once again, when it came out, you kind of saw it, and then Seckman able to run the table, hold on to the 1 seed. It's going to be an interesting shakeout here, but I still think it's Seckman Jackson next week in Imperial.
Yeah, I do too. It's not just it's 10 minutes if you can get all the lights
Right,
between
exactly.
Show Me Center and Jackson. I wouldn't know, having going to college over there and
Yeah,
trying to beat the lights from one to the other.
You're familiar with those little back roads to get over to
Oh,
there.
hey, it's the main drag. If you just drive it real quick and you can get all the lights, and that's a tough thing. Usually can't. So then we move on to our next district matchup, and that is District 2 of Class 6.
Woo.
And this is the one where we said, like, we're talking about those first round games, some disparity in the scores. This was a really interesting first round, the way the first round kind of went, as far as there was a good game, and then there was just looked like 8-man football score out there. So, Jim, let's talk about this one.
Well, first off, Howell and Vianney, Howell has finally got their footing. They started out of the gate slow. Now they are just off and running. And, they know what's ahead of them with Lafayette. They were able to take it. They raced out to, I think it was a 45-0 lead. And then, Brett Chinaki got some of the younger kids in, and that's great. And plus, you show the resiliency of that Vianney crew that Chris Starkey's got. Chris is starting to build something there, and I'm excited to see where they're going to be able to take this over the next bunch of years. But Howell and Lafayette this week over at Lafayette, what an unbelievable game that's going to be. And then CBC Kirkwood, this game was close for 2.5 quarters. And then CBC just, once again, they do what they do. And Scott Pingle and his coaching staff, they don't get nearly the credit that they deserve for the halftime adjustments that they make. And that's what they hang their hat on, is they take what's given to them in the first half, and then they'll make the adjustments that they need to be successful and get W's in the second half. And that's exactly what they did here. They made some adjustments. They forced Kirkwood into some situations that they're not used to being in, and they were able to pull away, in the latter stages of the ball game. Kirkwood, a great season. They still got one more. We got Turkey Day coming up in a couple weeks, where they'll play a vastly improved Webster team. I think this is going to be a fun Turkey Day game that we haven't seen in many years. But once again, CBC has to travel down 10 minutes to play Marquette. It is going to be a raucous establishment, atmosphere on Friday night, with those two. And honestly, I think that game's a coin flip. I think both these two games are coin flips right now. It's going to be really interesting to see. Lafayette hasn't been in this position in quite some time. Marquette, they've been in the position, but haven't been able to get over the hump. So it's going to be interesting to see how the veteran two teams are going to go against two teams that have just been, getting there and being able to pull this thing off. And if it shakes out that it's Lafayette and Marquette in that district final, you're going to see heads around the state just spin, because you just lost. You're defending two state champs in the top two classifications. Because remember, CBC won Class 6 last year, Howe won Class 5 last year. But then if you get CBC Howe, when's the last time we've seen two defending state champs play in a district final?
Yeah.
I mean, there are just so many really neat storylines between these two schools, between these two games in this district. It's just going to be so much fun to sit back and watch on Friday night.
I think this is probably the best matchups that we have. I mean, it's just, Marquette's got to prove a lot. CBC has to prove a lot. They are the 4 seed coming in, and I know how one thing is with the points and records really don't matter because you got to win on the road anyway.
Right.
For some of these games. And we know CBC's tough. They are the defending champs. And that other game, man, I'll tell you right now, Lafayette, you want to talk about, hey, are we here for real? They win this one. I think that pretty much says, hey, we're for real. And they are. They've ever since the week 1 loss to Marquette, they've ran the table.
You're going to see Lafayette is going to see two things that they haven't really seen all year. They're going to see a quarterback in Adam Shipley that can do everything. He can throw the ball. He reads defenses, but he's not afraid to tuck it and run. And then you got Jude James, who's going to Mizzou, who was just named JAC Player of the Year. And this kid is a special kid. And once again, how does Boyd Manny and his defense, dial some things up to drive those two kids crazy and to make, force Howe into uncomfortable situations? And believe me when I tell you, Boyd Manny and his defensive staff can do that. They are veteran coaches. This is one of the most veteran coaching staffs in the area. And if there's anybody that can dial some stuff up, it's them. And that's going to be a chess match. And then CBC, once again, they've got to figure out a way to stop this Marquette, offense that can throw the ball, run the ball. They're very multifaceted. They run the RPO extremely well, but so does, Marquette. They got to figure out a way to stop Jeremiah McClellan, and, going to, Ohio State next year to, continue his, athletic career and his academic career. I mean, once again, there's star power all over the place, and it's going to be really fun to see how these coaching staffs are going to try and, play the chess game and figure out a way to win later in the ball game.
Hey, defense is going to win this one.
Without a doubt.
Defense is going to win these games. I mean, I'm calling it right now. Whoever's defense can step up, because we are talking about 4 teams that have great offenses. It's going to be whose defense can get those stops that's going to get the wins. I know it sounds cliche.
No.
If you know these programs, that's exactly the case.
If you like offense, you're going to love these 2 games. And you're exactly right. It's going to be what defense can make the stop at the end of the game. And that's where it's going to boil down to. Who can get the big kill at the end to stop momentum? And you're going to see it in both of these 2 games.
Yep, I agree. And then we move on to our down to Class 5, and we're looking at District 2. And listen, Eureka has had kind of a down year a little bit in their own standards, but still the 2 seed, still coming in with a big win. These matchups are also pretty good matchups. So, Jim, let's get your thoughts on them.
Yeah, Parkway West gets a nice victory over Central. Eureka finally getting back to what they love to do, and that's get things going offensively, and their defense, played phenomenal. And then Ladue, once again, Ladue has been so up and down. They've been, trotting out 2 quarterbacks in Dylan and McIntosh, and I think they've solidified some things offensively, but for Ladue defensively, how do you stop Eureka? And Eureka, I think, is, early in the year, they were passing the ball all over the place. I still think they're going to utilize that, but I think they're going to get back to what their bread and butter is, and that's run the football to set up the pass. And it's going to be interesting to see Ladue, how they stop that. For West, the bottom line is, how do you stop Elijah Stevens?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, the kid is just played out of his mind all year long. That defense for Summit has been just nails all year. I don't know if West can stop him. I don't know if West can even slow him down. That game could get out of hand pretty quick. But Jeff Duncan and that Longhorn crew, they've got some great players, great coaching. They're gonna figure out some ways to slow down Rockwood Summit. But I'm telling you right now, I really believe we're gonna see Summit Eureka next week over at Summit. And boy, what a knockdown drag out that could possibly be next Friday night.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I think Summit's for real. Obviously, I've been preaching about it since before they got into the media rankings. But I like this matchup though between Summit and Parkway West. I think that's going to be a pretty good. That has the opportunity to be a good game in itself. And then obviously Eureka and Ladue. I mean, I can't say this enough. I know they've had some struggles this year. They might have turned a corner on some of these things. And if you're right, if they get back to that, what they do, this could be a long night for Ladue. I mean, I kind of look at it like that.
Yeah, without a doubt. And once again, we've seen that over the last couple of weeks with Eureka. They're getting back to their bread and butter a little bit. And that's just that power game. And it's opened up the passing for them a little bit. And I think that's what they needed to do. They needed to get back to that identity that we're just going to beat you up in the trenches. We're going to run the ball. But we also know we got a quarterback that we get the run game going. That's going to open up things out in the secondary. And it's going to pull the safeties down into the box a little bit. And that's going to give them an opportunity to, throw the ball around a little bit. And that's what Eureka needs to do against, a Ladue team that could sneak up and get you at any given moment. And you have to realize that, they're a really solid team. It's going to be, I think that's the closer game. And I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to pull the old Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. As much as I love Parkway West's program, I love Summit just a little bit more because of what they've done this year and what they continue to do. I still will say Eric Stewart doesn't get the credit he deserves as, building that Summit program. It's Summit, and it's not even close.
Hey, listen, I've been a big Summit fan all year long.
If I had the Falcon headgear, I would put the Falcon headgear on right now.
I'm not saying they're going to lose. I just said I think it could be a close game. But I think Summit's too much, and it's obviously they're in the driver's seat for this. Hopefully,
I've been waiting 11 weeks to go not so fast, my friend.
I know.
I've been holding off on that for a long time.
That's because I tend to agree with what you say. So it's nice to see that we don't always agree on everything, especially with this, with high school football and stuff. So we'll move on to our next one because I don't want to hear you tell me how terrible I am. But Class 4, District 3, jumping down another class. I mean, here's where I think it is one team and everybody else. This is my Larry Bird district.
Yeah. Yeah, but it really is. And Lutheran North bye week last week gave, Dakari Hollis another week to get, to get better. Let them try and get some of those, bumps and bruises out of the way. Once again, it's Lutheran North and nobody else. No disrespect to Normandy, Vashon, and Clayton. This is Lutheran North's district. We knew that going in, and you look at the resume, you look at what Lutheran North has done. I still think Lutheran North is the top team in the state of Missouri. I still want to see them in Smithville duke it out at Furrow Field in December to finally put an end to all the arguing that's been going on between the Kansas City and St. Louis side on who should be the number one team. But once you get out of district, you're going to have some interesting matchups in 4. And I know we're going to talk about one of them here in a second. But, this is Lutheran North's district to lose. And I don't see them losing. In fact, I don't see anybody coming within 4 touchdowns of them in this district.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've had some good stories with the Clayton Brentwood co-op. Obviously, Vashon's had a good year, but Lutheran North is Lutheran North.
Oh yeah,
and they're going to face a winner of a beat you up district, but I don't see anybody in this one, as you said, getting close. They're just that good, and I'm in that same kind of company too. I want to see them play Smithville, so that's what I'm rooting for. I want to see that game. Hope they don't lose because I just want to see that game, and let's just, you said, put an end to it. Let's find out.
Yeah, let's just end the arguing. And that's what I said to my buddy Dion Cluso, who runs Preps KC. I said, let's just end the arguing right now. Let's get these two teams there. But once again, they're both going to have really tough roads once you get out of district. I mean, you've got Green Valley out there that's playing terrific. You've got teams, in the way of Lutheran North. And we're going to talk about one of those teams here in a minute. I mean, they're not going to have easy paths to get to Furrow Field, but if they do, they're answering the question. They've been 1-2 all year long. This is the way it should end up. But you've got to come in and week out. But right now, Lutheran North, the resume is exactly why I still say they're the number one team in the state. They beat 3 state defending champs this year.
That's crazy.
I mean, and they lost to a Maryville team without their starting quarterback. And if they have, Dakari, they win that game by 3 touchdowns easily, without a doubt. And that's so, I mean, yeah, I want to see that game. Hopefully they'll get the job done and they'll be able to do the things that they need to do. But I just think it's going to be terrific.
I cannot disagree with you on that. So we're going to move right along and into that other district, as you have foreshadowed to, as we have so many of these. I think three ranked teams in in Class 4 in this same district. Holt being the only one who's not ranked. Jim, let's talk about this. The one we were just alluding to.
Yeah, and North gets the week off. They get to kind of, once again, end of the season. It's great to get that week one, that first week bye in the playoffs. Gives them a chance to get some of those bumps and bruises figured out and fixed. Warrenton, it was good to see Warrenton play somebody with some speed, with some good defense. Nothing against the teams they played in the JC this year, but Warrenton proved that they belong with this win over Lutheran St. Charles. And then Holt does what Holt does. They just win football games. And Hannibal's the dark horse in this thing. Aeneas Williams is one of the top running backs in the state of Missouri. This kid is good. And he's a lot of fun to watch. Does so many things so well for this Hannibal team. This is where we knew this district was going to go. Now we'll see what could happen. I'm rooting for Warrenton. They've been the story in the state all year long, and they've been a lot of fun to watch. And I think that this is a statement game for them. If they can go into Parkway North and beat the Vikings, they're going to really prove to a lot of people that the media guys on that panel knew what we were talking about all year long and ranking them and keeping them ranked. But I think it's going to be a great ball game. Warrenton's going to have to figure out how to stop the two-headed monster in the backfield. You got a quarterback that runs the RPO as good as anybody. You got a running back that they can put in the Wildcat and do terrific things. They create real big issues for opposing teams' defenses. And that's exactly what Coach Oldenwall has done in rebuilding this program and getting it back to where they were back in the early 2010s when Bob Bunton was the head coach. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Holt, their defense has got to figure out a way to stop Williams. If they do, Holt's got a really good shot. But if Williams gets over 100 yards and scores a couple times, I don't think Holt can withstand that. I think Hannibal's going to end up winning that game.
So I'm going to disagree with you on one thing. First off, I'm saying Hannibal. I think you're right. I think it's just going to be too much Williams. And then I'm telling you right now, I'm calling Parkway North. I know you guys in the media want to be right with Warrenton. I think they've been a great story. You can't take anything away from what they've done. They've had a great year. I also think Parkway North's had a great year too.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think the quarterback play, the running back play. We've seen the running back taking snaps as a quarterback. I mean, I think there's just too much there. I'm going to say Parkway North, Hannibal for the district championship. Now that's just me. I could be wrong. I've been wrong a lot of times, but I'm telling you right now, that's what I'm calling now. Just from watching how all these things have played out this year.
And once again, I think Parkway North, their only loss is to Summit. And they played
Summit's pretty good. We've already said Summit's pretty good.
We've talked about that. But I mean, it was a great game in the first half, and then Summit does what they do. They just beat you down in the second half, and they were able to pull away. Once again, I'm really curious to see. We saw the glimpse of it out of Warrenton last week, playing a team that's got great speed out on the edges, got a good quarterback. And Lutheran St. Charles had a gauntlet of a schedule this year. So they're down a little bit, but they've still got speed to burn on the edges. Yes. They've still got different things that they can turn to. And Warrenton was able to withhold it and withstand it. So I think this game's a lot closer. It's not going to surprise me if Warrenton wins. The slight edge does go to Parkway North because, once again, I think they've just got a little too much. But once again, if Warrenton can win, it proves us all right that they deserve to be state ranked all year.
And that's what the media guys want to know. They want to see is they want to be proved right. See? Yep, I knew it. But not taking nothing away. These games could go any way. These are four really good teams, good programs, having great years. So this could turn and flip the other way. It doesn't. I mean, it's push. Who's going to show up and play? Who stays healthy? I mean, anything can happen. But man, I'll tell you what a district. I mean, what an absolute district this year, coming out of Class 4 District 4.
Yeah, without a doubt.
A lot of great teams.
Yeah, a lot of great teams, 3 state ranked. We didn't kind of foresee this, but it's happened, and I'm glad it did, especially for Class 4.
Absolutely. Well, when we come back from our quick commercial break, we're going to look at the state volleyball that we're both going to be at. We're going to attend some state volleyball. Yes, the guy who doesn't
cannot believe it.
I know, right? So we come back, we will talk about all these classes in volleyball. You are watching On the Move with the Caravan Sports Preview Show. We'll be right back.
captain of the Pee Wee football team. We may be small, but we are
mighty,
annoying. And you are so tired from playing defense against us that your focus is about to ride the bench. Go, go, go. Thanks, Mom.
Bye.
Come on, come on. And if you have cut-rate car insurance, then not even a Hail Mary will save you from paying for this. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
Are you tired of boring sports talk shows? Then tune in to the Coach's Box. These guys don't just talk sports. They talk about whatever the heck they want to talk about. Watch new episodes of the Coach's Box each week for free on Facebook, YouTube, or the Streamline Sports app.
All right, everybody, welcome back to On the Move with the Caravan Sports Preview Show with Jim Powers. This episode, as all of our episodes, are brought to you by Wiley Agencies. You can get multiple policies for your insurance with one agent for your car, your home, your motorhome, your motorcycle, your motorboat, whatever. It doesn't matter if it has a motor or not. You can call Sean Wiley today. Call him at his Festus office, 636-764-6294. His Hillsborough office at 636-333-9903. He'll get you taken care of. Speaking of being taken care of, you know what? I think some teams around here have taken care of business, not being a homer or anything, but we've got some great state volleyball. I know. I'm admitting to that. State volleyball matchups. And I'll tell you what, man, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm down, heading down there later on this evening, and it's going to be a lot of fun. This is a great field in all 5 classifications. And once again, the high level of volleyball in the area is just unbelievable. And we're going to see that on display starting tomorrow down at the Show Me Center with Class 5 and Class 4. And what a way to start this thing off. And heck with it. Let's stop talking about it. Let's get into the brackets and show everybody what we're talking about.
Absolutely. And Jim just said it, and we're going to do it. So we're talking about Class 5. And you know what, Jim, we talked about some good local teams, and we always want to root for the St. Louis area teams. We've got 2 really good programs representing our STL area here. And I think it could be an all STL matchup.
Oh, without a doubt. Lafayette. Yeah. I mean, it very well could be with these 2 clubs. Lafayette, Zach Young, they're defending Class 5 state champs. He's won 7 state championships at Lafayette.
That's okay. That's not too many, is it?
It's pretty good.
It's all right.
It's okay.
All right.
But they're going to run into a really good Kickapoo team tomorrow afternoon on court 1, and then how once again, and we talked about that a little bit ago. Winning breeds winning, and you look at this Hal volleyball team coming off the heels of the softball team winning state championship last week. And they're just they're from my understanding, they've got 2 pep buses that are leaving tomorrow morning around 9:00 to get down there. And I mean, they're going to run into a really good Lee Summit West team. I will be the homer, and I will say that we are going to see an all St. Louis final on Friday afternoon at 2:00. And if that happens, it will just be insane atmosphere at Show Me Center. And I love how they do everything at Show Me Center. Both semifinals are going on simultaneously. They set up 2 courts in the Show Me Center, and the semis are going on simultaneously. And the atmosphere is just unbelievable. And then for the championship on Friday, they'll go, they'll do their championships for classes 5, 4, and 3 Friday morning and early afternoon, and then they'll go back to the 2 courts for the Class 1, Class 2 semifinals. But that championship court, once again, it's just the atmosphere is insane for these kids. And that's why I love the setup down at Show Me Center. And I really believe it could be an all St. Louis final on Friday afternoon at 2:00.
I'm hoping that you're 1,000% right, because I mean, I always root for the STL area schools. Lafayette is just in another world right now. The record's impressive, obviously defending state champs. I think it's going to be a great matchups no matter what. I got to say, before we really get going on these, I do miss the old round robins. And I get it. I like the fact that when you get a chance, you get the chance to play everybody, and then you get into it. I do miss that because I remember I've been to a couple of Final Fours, and I think that's neat from a guy who's a basketball coach. And you see these other sports. It was one of the things that made volleyball really unique was the fact you got to play everybody when you get there.
Well,
I miss that.
Well, yeah, and I missed the round robin too, but they had to go away from the round robin when it won best 3 of 5.
Which I don't like, but that's
yes. I'm not a big fan of it, but that's what the colleges do, and to get the kids that are going to play at the next level to get them used to playing best 3 of 5, playing matches that could go 2.5 hours, on the collegiate level. And I mean, look at the amount of kids out of the St. Louis area that have and are playing on the collegiate level, on the big stage. And one, our good friend Jay Blossom, his daughter Gabby, went to Penn State, played played in 3 NCAA tournament teams there, goes to San Diego, for the COVID year to take that 5th year, and she ends up playing in the national championship game in front of 15,000 people. I mean, and you've got to condition the kids to be ready to go best 3 of 5, play in the longer sets, So I get why the high school associations have gone to 3-5. I'm not a fan of it, especially officiating it, because it turns into long, long nights. But it's okay because the kids, it gets them ready for the next level. And that's why we've really seen the explosion of the high-level kids going to play at some of the high-level collegiate teams in Division I across the country.
I'm going to save my feelings on this for the coach's box.
Oh,
I would love to discuss this on the coach's box, which will be airing later on today. And we'll just go ahead and move right on to Class 4 because I am the homer here. And I'm also producing the show. And we
that's the only time I'll let you pull that card out.
That's right. You like that, don't you? Hey, your name's on the show. I'm still producing. Anyway,
I'm
still getting to throw graphics up there. So we got listen, I think we've got 2 really good volleyball games right here, right with these 4 teams, great programs. St. Pius having a St. Pius year. The difference is the championship factor. They would be a Class 2 school playing at Class 4 slowly but surely after the championship points. And I will say this, having to adjust to playing in a district that's Class 4, all of a sudden now they've reeled off 3 straight Class 4 district championships. Now they get an opportunity. They won the state tournament to go to their first Final Four in Class 4 in school history. Then you have a great Jefferson City program that beat Webb City 3-2. And then you got 2 of the best volleyball programs in the state on the other side of the bracket. I mean, we are talking about some really good volleyball that's about to be played.
Noon tomorrow is going to be electric in the Show Me Center. And you're exactly right. We got 2 heavyweight matches that are going to be going on. And St. Pius, that they've seen 3 of these teams. Yeah. They saw St. Michael, they saw Incarnate Word earlier this year. I think Pius takes care of Jeff City. Honestly, Incarnate and St. Michael is just going to be a knock. That will be a 5-setter. I will be shocked if that thing doesn't go more than 5 sets because those 2 teams are so even balanced. The Incarnate, they got 2 6'1" middle blockers. They've got a kid on the outside that can swing one of the heaviest arms that I've seen on the high school side in years, and they get great defensive play out of their libero. Pius, once again, they just are so fundamentally sound, and that's why I give them the edge over Jeff City. I think Pius does the things right. They stay in system, and they're going to take care of their business. I think, once again, this could be an all St. Louis final. But that St. Michael Incarnate semi is just going to be a war between those 2 teams.
I'm really hoping that that's a really good game. And St.
if
Pius
you're
comes out
Pius
with the
and Jeff City, you want that match to go 5 because you got the quick turnaround. to the championship 24 hours or 22 hours later. And that.
Right.
So you want that thing to go as long as it possibly could drag out.
Right. We're really hoping that we definitely want to win against Jeff City, so that way we don't have school the next day. Not just not
You
that
just
the only
jinxed
reason.
it. When Zach hears you say this,
I don't care what Zach
says.
says.
He's going to not
Whatever.
be happy with you.
Yeah, whatever. He's going to be in cross country. So the thing is I think these matchups are great matchups. These programs have proven why they are there. That game with St. Michael and Incarnate Word, I've watched them both play. My gosh, St. Michael does not look like they are the most intimidating team. They just do everything right.
Yes.
They can dig the ball out. They make good. They make good sets. They spike really well. They do everything right that you want from your volleyball teams, and it's hard to beat a team that you can't score on.
You're right, without a doubt. And that, we're out of these 4 teams, we're going to see fundamental volleyball at its best. Yes. And that's what you want to see in the state, in the state Final Four. And we're going to see that. But, once again, I'll be the homer. I think Incarnate can get St. Michael's, and I definitely think Pius can win. I think we're going to see an all St. Louis, get together on Friday for lunch at noon at the Show Me Center.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully I'm there watching. And then we look at the next next class. We got class 3. And, Ursuline Academy coming out and beating Saxony. I thought that was a big upset.
Without a doubt. And once again, you look at who the coach for Ursuline is, Jeff Cheek, many years of success as the boys coach over at the U High. And he stepped into that program, and he's got the kids in, he's getting the kids in that he wants. And they are, once again, we talk about fundamentals. They are as fundamentally sound as you are going to see anywhere. And I mean anywhere in the state of Missouri. And that a lot, goes to Jeff Cheek and his coaching staff. Cleaver is a really, really good team.
You got to say clever, man. You got to say it the right way.
I'm sorry, clever. I apologize. It's clever. But Clever's been there and done that. This will be a tough matchup for Ursuline, especially, at 10 a.m., kicking things off, tomorrow morning. But, I like their chances. And then you go down below Pleasant Hill and Blair Oaks. Yeah, Blair Oaks is playing at another level right now. And Clayton gave them everything that they wanted.
They did. Yeah, they did.
That was a 5-set thriller. But you know what? I just think Blair Oaks is going to win that matchup. So I think Class 3, it's a toss-up. Any of those 4 teams can come away and get victories. And that's exactly what you want to see when it comes down to the state, the state Final Four. You're not going to have one team that's going to run away with it, or 2 teams that are going to meet up and run away with the semis. I think we got the makings of a really, really talented classification where any of those 4 teams can win.
Yeah, 100%. I think these games go 5. I think both of these can definitely go 5.
I agree. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And once again, for everybody that wants to keep the state tournament on time, a 5-set match, you're looking at 2 hours, and now we're going to be starting the next set of games a little bit later, right. Which is okay, because the kids are going to get a great experience, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see. So, once again, I really am looking forward to this Class 3 Final Four. I just think there's, any of those 4 teams can come away with a victory.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I think there can be some big time battles between these schools, and nothing to take away. I mean, Clayton gave them everything they wanted. Hit that on by accident. It gave Blair Oaks everything they wanted. Blair Oaks is really, really good, but we have some really good, these programs are all pretty solid across the board with each other. It shows what Ursuline's been able to do. Record is, not always indicative of how good they are. They're there for a reason. And I think they're gonna show why they're there.
Without a doubt. And that's what you do. I mean, yeah, you roll the dice when you're in district play and in the sectional and quarterfinal round. But when you can get to a state Final Four, you've proved that you belong.
Right.
And I don't care what your record is. I don't care how weak of a district or whatever. If you can make it to the Final Four, you've proved that you're one of the top 4 teams in the state of Missouri. And that's exactly what we have here. And once again, I just go back to, I think any one of those 4 teams can win this thing.
Right. Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. And we don't have the graphics, and we're not really covering it too much. But there's a couple of schools. I mean, South Iron in Class 1 making their Final Four in volleyball. I got to give some rep to my alma mater.
Of course you do.
I know. Advance with Erin Hoffman, Hall of Fame coach. I've known her for a long time. She does a great job. She's also playing in the Final Four in Class 1. And then Arcadia Valley with Tara Lamb. I mean, she's done it. Great program there in Class 2. And coming in there with one of those records, kind of like Ursuline, they're about 500 and then just get hot. That shows when the coaching and the teaching all pays off, what can really happen when the kids buy in and they get hot, moving on in their district and now playing in the Final Four. It's exciting. You love it for the kids, especially when you know these folks and the coaches and the kids that are playing on it. It's a lot of fun. It definitely is.
And that's the whole thing. You're going to see the community support that's going to show up. The kids getting out of school, the pep buses, and that's what it's all about, especially, with these sports. And that's what it's great to see. And once again, it was awesome to see the community support at the softball championships last week. We'll see it here. Then you got swim, and then soccer at Soccer Park, and then obviously football to finish things up. But that's what it's all about, is getting the communities to rally around their student athletes and support them, and to give them that excitement level that they deserve.
Right. 100%. And Jim, before we get out of here, you talk about cross country. We got some cross country action happening this week.
Let's see, Festus, Hillsboro, Herky, they just do what they do, and that's making the cross country championships. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a terrific. Pius has got, they're heading out there. You've got some of the Coriezus, the St. Louis U High boys team, Coriezu girls team. Lafayette's going to have a group there. Festus will have a big group there. The local area is going to be well represented out at I think, one of the top cross-country courses in the nation at Gans Creek. Mizzou did a terrific job in putting this course together, and it's going to be a fun 2 days of cross-country out in Columbia. I know that's where Zach's going to go out, and he'll fill us in on a bunch of stuff next week on the Coach's Box. But it's going to be really neat to kind of see where everybody's going to shake out and see who can bring home cross-country hardware. But I'm telling you, Jefferson County, they've got some great opportunity between Pius, Herky, Festus, and Hillsboro. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch those 4 schools and see what they can do.
I got a lot of respect for kids who run cross country.
Oh,
we had it at South Iron, and I hated it. I hated running because we all go run 7 miles and try to have to play an open gym and stuff. But that's neither here nor there when you're basketball coach or cross country coach. But to go and just run, I mean, and run through all kinds of terrain, I have a lot of respect for those kids. I hated it. I can definitely see when you're that good at it, it says something. It really does.
And what people don't understand, and me and you have heard Drew Hanlon talk about the unseen hours in the gym with kids and how they work. People don't see these cross-country kids up at 5 a.m. to run 10 miles before school and then go do a practice after school. I mean, these kids run thousands of miles every single year.
Yep.
And that's dedication. I couldn't do it. I know a lot of people can't do it, but these kids are as dedicated of athletes as you are ever going to see. And that's why we need to celebrate these kids because, a cross-country kid, you're just not going to show up and run a 5K or a 3K and be successful without putting in the work.
Right.
We've seen it basketball. You could just have natural talent basketball wise and be successful. Cross country, that ain't it. You have to earn everything that you get, and that's just getting out there and running and getting in condition and doing the work away from what everybody else sees. And that's the really cool thing about cross country. And that's why I love watching cross country. I get a chance to, do PA for the cross country festival up here at Forest Park in September. I had a chance to do their last chance meet last Saturday, and just watching these kids, it's just terrific to see, and to see the crowd support. It's unbelievable, and these kids deserve it. And Gants Creek is a terrific venue for the state championships. It's going to be a lot of fun out there on Friday and Saturday.
It sure is, and should have some pretty good weather. It's kind of rolling in too, so it won't be as cold. Should be good for the runners. It should be a lot of fun. And again, whether it's cross country, whether it's volleyball, football, swimming, doesn't matter. Go out and support the kids.
Yep.
They deserve it. They really do.
Absolutely. And, for the volleyball fans that want to watch Pius play, it'll be on Misha.tv. My good buddy, John Edwards, will be on the call for some of those games this weekend. And, it's worth the watch. They do a terrific job with the production for volleyball. And then we'll talk about it next week on this show and on the Coach's Box next week as well, since Zach's going to be across country. Me, you, and Kevin will be down at volleyball this weekend. So we'll have a lot to talk about next week, not only on the move, but also on the Coach's Box. So we're going to have some wall-to-wall coverage for you on a lot of the great state championships.
Absolutely. Well, Jim, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I will see you tonight on the Coach's Box, and then I will see you tomorrow down at the Show Me Center. So
yeah, without a doubt, I'll be we'll do the show tonight. I'm actually getting ready to once we finish up here, I'm gonna get packed and head down the Cape and help Jason West start getting things set up, and then we'll be live from my hotel room tonight. And you guys will be in Jarvis will be in the basement, and who knows where everybody else will be, but it'll be a fun Coach's Box tonight. And then I'll see all of you guys down in Cape tomorrow, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch the local teams.
Absolutely. That's what we're all about doing, is checking out these local teams and supporting those programs. Jim, another great show, and thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of On the Move with the Caravan Sports Preview Show. We'll see you guys all again next week. Have a great one. This episode of On the Move with the Caravan is brought to you by Off the Rails Media. Life's more fun when you're off the rails.
Are you tired of boring sports talk shows? Then tune in to the Coach's Box. These guys don't just talk sports. They talk about whatever the heck they want to talk about. Watch new episodes of the Coach's Box each week for free on Facebook, YouTube, or the Streamline Sports app.